Hey everybody, it's Mike Carey with The One Good Reason. We have a special guest with us tonight by the name of Mr. Sean D. He's going to be having a discussion with us about memory and some tips and tricks that he has to build your own. He has a little bit of a story to tell about how he's developed his memory to be basically super accurate and super precise. So very excited to have him on, to have him join us. And let's go ahead and bring him into the stream now. Oh,
Is
Sean, I'm not
my
sure if
working?
you're muted. There you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was on the phone. I'm sorry.
You're good now.
Hi. Hi. Yeah, I'm Sean
No
D.
worries.
Very happy to be here.
Hey,
Hey, thank you.
appreciate it, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, for the viewers, our conversation is basically going to be about memory in general, but
Mhm.
I've come to understand that you, in particular, have a very extraordinary memory, or at least some kind of ability to access past information very accurately. Is that correct?
Certain areas, yeah. Basically, we have so many different kinds of memory. They call like uh, they call episodic memory. That means certain things. Most of us probably remember stories, remember our life stories, right? Yeah, that kind of memory is. So basically, what we did was making most of the stuff turn into that kind of memory, sort of. I did learn a lot of the skill sets, how to build the memory. Like if we meet people, for example, in a meeting, if I meet 30 people and shake hands, and at the end I can call their names. Yes, that's acquired
Okay, so
acquired memory. Everybody can learn. It's not like something special I was born with. I know, no.
okay. So this is something that
Mhm.
there was a pivoting point where you were maybe doing some type of exercises or some type of training that you
Yeah,
underwent
yeah,
to get to where you're at.
yeah, yes.
Okay. Um, so if yeah, just walk me through that. Like, what's that like going from maybe an average guy like myself with limited average memory skills to being where you're at now? Um, just kind of give me some of your regimen or your tips and secrets there.
Okay. Yeah. Remember, I sent you that the PDF file about those people, right? I can walk you
Hmm.
through about them. The special, like Kim Peek. I don't know if people heard about him. Kim
Hmm.
Peek has
Rain
a
Man.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was the movie. Everybody knows about that movie, right? Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
Dustin
yeah.
Hoffman and the Tom Cruise. He had this ability. He read over 12,000 books, and in his local library, actually, they have a section just for him. Nobody else goes there. He will walk there, take a book. He will he will sit there and read the book, one 2 pages at a time. Because his left eye can read one page, his right eye can read another page. So
Mm.
he will read. He will finish a book, then go home. The most the most amazing part was this: all the books he finished, he will put on the shelf upside down, so they know that's finished. You can so because that section only for him, they made it.
Mm.
You can go to that section, pick up any book he read, open it, and page 45, ask him. He will recite every single word. So he not only read over 12,000 books, he remembered every single word.
And
Never made mistakes. Mhm.
when I hear stories like this, like Kim Peek for a
Yeah,
minute,
in pig, yeah.
for example,
Mhm.
I usually have the idea of, okay, there's some kind of trade-off here where this person, maybe their memory is so
Mhm.
astronomical
Yeah.
They have difficulty using the restroom on their own, or something like this, or some kind of big takeaway or sacrifice as far as their autonomy, or something like this. But that doesn't seem to be the case with you. You,
No, well, that people like that, like Kim Peek, right? Yeah, that's
yeah.
when I saw that, I said, nah, nobody can do that because he's called what they call him idiot savant. Basically, you are
Mm.
so special in one area, and generally is an idiot. I mean, IQ probably like 40 something or 50 something. His IQ. So can you imagine? But then then I also send you about the other guys like Alonzo Clemens, right?
Yes.
Alonzo Clemens, he's still alive. Actually, Kim Peek died. He's still alive. He's 62 now. But Alonzo Clemens also is like a idiot type. Really, in a normal way, he cannot live a normal life. But he can go to the street with you and see a cow or see a horse, and he will touch that horse. Then go home with the clay, can make a sculpture of that cow. Not a cow, the cow, that cow.
That specific
That's
exact cow.
cow, exactly like that. You can check, you can check all the details like the teeth, the ears, the eye. So
that's that's what I'm like so fascinated about. Is that something you're tapping into, or is it something that
that's the part that fascinates me, because there's certain people like him, like these people, and also the other guy was Stephen Wilshire. They call him the human camera. He can take a helicopter ride over Manhattan, then come home and draw 3 days on the wall without any picture or anything, for purely from his memory. Draw Manhattan, draw every building and every window pane exactly like a picture. And he also has his IQ is also 75. It's really low, but there was another guy got me interested. It was the other guy, actually, Daniel Tammet.
Is he the one with the glasses?
He wrote glasses. He wrote 2 books. I read his book.
Yeah.
Because I saw him on TV reciting the pi, digits pi.
I saw it. Yep.
Yeah, he did
for Guinness, I think, right?
Yeah, he did 20,000. I said, yeah, because he's an idiot savant, of course, who was born. But what happened was when they talked about him, he went to the World Memory Contest, World Championship. He came in 4th. That shocked me. I said, wait a minute. An idiot savant came in 4th. So they have that many idiot savants. That means must be the other 3 must be idiot savants too, right? Turned out to be no. The other were normal people. That got me really interested. I said, that's impossible. That's impossible. That's pure bullshit.
So not always a trade-off. Not always a huge.
Not always a trade-off. So you can practice. I said, no. There's no way. So I started to explore that. That's because of him. Because of his because he lost that memory card. Those 3. Who was number 1? Number 1 was Dominic O'Brien. O'Brien not only was number 1, he was 8-time world champion. Never matched so far. Now he's in his 50s, I believe. He started when he was 30-some, just a normal guy. Didn't have anything special. He just started learning and do that. So
see, that's the thing. It's like I'm just like, how do you go from just being a regular Joe to all of a sudden, you read something and it's just on easy recall, like without.
Yeah, I thought it was impossible. I thought it was bullshit initially. So I read his book, but I didn't practice. I said, nah, that's still, he must be like that idiot savant. He must be in a certain way. Then there was another book came out, was a Moonwalking with Einstein, was Joshua Ford. What happened was he was just like me. He was fascinated with this, but not only fascinated when because he was a reporter, a journalist. So he interviewed Ed Cook, was also a memory champion. So also a world memory champion. Ed Cook said, look, I mean, I can do it, you can do it too. He said, no, this is bullshit. I know you guys must be so special. So Ed Cook said, look, if you really want to do it, I'll help you. Let's try it. And got him interested. He decided to try. He practiced for half a year with Ed Cook, and became the U.S. champion.
Just like flashcards, or
this is the real. So he wrote that book, Moonwalking with Einstein. Because of him, I started saying, wait a minute, if this is possible, because I couldn't do. I always had a reasonably good memory, and academically was very good. And the typical Chinese shit, we had to spend so much time on books and stuff. I read so many books. Yeah, I read probably over 5,000 books by now, because even now I still finish a book every 2 to 3 days. I read fast.
Wow,
I still do that every day.
I need to up my book game there.
That part I just
was doing good. You're
mostly the nonfiction books. I read a lot of books.
Yeah.
I mean, remember I told you I do this fitness and lose weight and get healthy, and I read over 500 books just on that: nutrition, diet, exercise, just on those recently. I mean, the last 6 years now, I read well over 500 books just on that alone. But when Joshua 4 did that, I thought, wait a minute, that means it's possible. That means it's possible. For me, at least, I was convinced. So I went back to study Harry Lorraine's book, Arthur Bornstein, and Dominic O'Brien, and all these books. After reading these books, I said, okay, when I couldn't do pi, like digits, because pi is totally random. There's no pattern, and it's all numbers and juggling, and it's so hard because it's so abstract. It's only 10 digits. Keep thinking, right? There's no way. I'm
no good at pi. Yeah, no, I know.
When I was a kid, I did a little bit over 100, but that was it. And it couldn't do more. Very hard. And
100, yeah.
So I decided. I said, okay, let me try this. So I started to use Dominic O'Brien's method and the practice. Eventually, I did 2,000. I stopped with my friends. I showed them. I said, look. They said, no, bullshit. No, that's impossible.
Wait. That's very juicy right there. What? Just for the viewers, what is Dominic's method in particular, specifically?
Okay. Now we go on to more talk about the specific method, right? Okay. We can talk about pi later. We talk about the memory in general first.
Okay, sure.
General first, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So generally, memory, there are several factors to decide how we remember things.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, I think, is you can call it association. Because when you are learning anything new, you have to use a reference point. You have to use what you already know to associate to that, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, like if you're learning a foreign language, right? Like cognac, that's cognac. Yeah, if you're learning Chinese, I'll tell you, okay, Chinese, in Chinese, a cognac. Shit, I don't even remember what is Chinese in cognac.
It's been a while.
Yeah, actually, I think in English and dream in English. So,
okay.
I sing in Chinese, in Chinese, count in Chinese. But if I tell you that's called Bailandi, you would think, oh, okay, Bailandi actually means brandy. It means brandy, right? Bailandi. You would think, okay, oh, that's Chinese. Or all the glass you are using, right? Glass. Mm-hmm. We call 杯子. You would think, oh, what the hell was that? But you started to associate that to the thing you are holding in your hand.
I see.
Right? You see. So because you already know.
It's more of the I get you now. It's more of what it's involving versus the actual sound or the actual word or the number, the item itself. Okay.
Item itself. And especially when you learn foreign language, it's association. You have to tie it to something. Otherwise, you can't remember. I will give you an example. For example, a lot of people have super memory in certain areas. Like, I don't know if you heard about this guy, Gary Kasparov, the chess player. He's the Michael Jordan of chess. Basically, in chess, in history, I think most people consider him the best all time. The best all time. He used to do this. Play with world-class chess players, like 40 games, blind. He will be blindfolded, play against 40 different people. So he will remember clearly. He remembered every game, every pattern, right? He remembered. He said, "Okay, this one I do this. You do this. I'll continue." So his memory was just unbelievable.
That's a lot.
But when these guys, when the Florida State K. Anders Ericsson, he wrote a book called Road to Excellence, Expertise Development. He actually analyzed Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, and Brazilian soccer, UCLA, John Wooden. He did all the best of the best in the world. How did they do it? He did research for 20 years and came up with that book. The book eventually, Malcolm Gladwell did a better job with the same research results, wrote a book called Outliers, The Story of Success. So that book is much more popular because nobody reads Anders Ericsson's book because that's like a research paper. Nobody cares. But it's true. It's true. But the same results. Gladwell wrote the book, became an instant bestseller, #1 bestseller for several years in a row. Outliers, the story of success. It's about this, about how they develop expertise. And during the process, they tested Gary Kasparov. They want to see how good is your memory. That means you must be so much smarter than the rest of the people, right? So because they tested, so he can remember 40 different chess patterns. He just walks through. They ask him, okay, where is which piece? He can remember all of them easily. That's true. And most other top players can remember 4 or 5. That's it. And regular people can't even remember one. But
that's me.
I can't even remember one for that, for chess. But what happened was this. Anders Ericsson's group, they are very smart. They scrambled the chessboard, totally scrambled it. Now, they ask everybody to walk through how many can you remember. He barely remembered one. He tried. Gary Kasparov was no better than other people. He barely remembered one.
How does that happen? I thought it sounded like he had a.
That's exactly the thing. Because our memory, we develop only for certain areas, for certain things. We really, generally, we do improve our memory. But like those expertise development, they are so good at certain things. They are only good at that because they spend more than 10,000 hours deliberately practice that.
Oh, it's like a rehearsal.
It's rehearsal. And also what he did was he remembered patterns. In his mind, that entire chessboard is a pattern. He doesn't have to remember it. He look at it. Okay, that's whatever pattern. He will name it. Pattern 25. He will remember that. This is 25, that's 21, that's 2. In his mind, he just remembered a few patterns. Then he will close his eyes. Oh, I know exactly which piece is where it is. Because in his mind, that's pattern recognition. Same like Bruce Lee. When they talk about Bruce Lee, how good, his fighting, how fast. He was so much faster. Actually, yes. This is the funniest part. Anders Ericsson was a big fan of Bruce Lee. In the 70s, he saw Bruce Lee did that because he said, this guy cannot be human. This good. That's what started his research. He said, I want to see how these guys develop their superhuman ability. But Bruce Lee died, so he couldn't test Bruce Lee. So he tested others, like tennis players, like Ivan Lendl, Pete Sampras. He tested them. He said, these guys, they must have super reflexes. They must be faster than normal people. Turned out to be true because the computer calculated if you see the ball coming here, you go to return the ball, and the body and everything, you simply don't have enough time. So they must be superhuman. So actually, it turned out to be, for that, yes. But they did something else. They said, how about we do computer games? The same reflexes. You see something, then you and it turned out to be their reflexes were no better than other people. So he concluded same for Bruce Lee. He said, Bruce Lee is not really superhuman, but in that area, he can recognize pattern. Before you move, before you even do anything, he will know the next second, your hand will be here, your head will be here. He will know what you're going to do based on your muscle, your facial expression, and everything. So that's what the pattern recognition, same like Garry Kasparov. That's what it is for them, for that super memory. So the memory, several, that's what they did. So they found out, all these people don't have supernatural ability. Rather, they practiced on something special. So
they've come up with a code, basically.
Exactly, that's the conclusion.
A specific area.
That's the rough summary of his book, of K. Andrew Erickson's the research for 20 years research. The rough summary. Of course, he said this. He said, anybody can become world class, but not everybody can become Michael Jordan. But everybody can become world class at certain things. But not everybody can dunk a football, basketball, right? If you are 5'6", well, unless you are Muggsy Bogues.
Right. You can recognize as many patterns as you want, right? You're not going to be able to augment your physical. Yeah.
Muggsy Bogues is what, 5'3"? And he's the only one.
Probably shorter than that.
No, he can dunk.
Yeah.
How the hell can you do that? I don't know, but anyway, he's
adrenaline, maybe.
he's a superhuman too, man. Yeah, I read his book. Is in the land of giants, because he was at here of Shaquille O'Neal. So that was But anyway, this for memory. Remember, we talked about the first way is association. But the second, how do you remember things? Typically, a lot of people use this called Confucius said. They said Confucius said, I see, I hear, I forget. I see, I remember. I do, I understand. Confucius never said that. But Americans, you keep saying Confucius said, but give more credibility, I guess, because Confucius, every single word he said was written down, like Socrates was. I checked it. I didn't.
Even the ones he didn't say.
Like Yogi Berra said, I didn't say the things I said.
Right? Yeah, he's like, well, thanks, anyway, I appreciate it.
Yeah, but anyway, it's a. The second one is, he said, if I do, I remember. So in this case, in order to develop the memory, it's so much better to be involved, all senses. If you can touch it, you can see it, you can smell it, you can taste it, it's so much better. You can easily remember it so much better, right? So the first one is association. The second one is all senses involved. But what if some abstract stuff you cannot use you cannot touch, you cannot see? Imagination. This is where the imagination comes in. The imagination. Imagination, in this case, basically, like the pie thing was it was a story, actually. It was a story I made for myself and I made for my daughter. So it's become a story. So everybody can remember a story, right? It's like watching a movie. So I became the director of that movie, and with no limit for budget, and you can choose anybody to do anything, right? You can jump to the moon and come back right here. You can ask Angelina Jolie to make a flip, and she will do it, because this is the best part. So for super memory part, you can that's what it's not really about memory when I teach kids. It's for imagination and creativity. So that's the second one, right? And the third one, no matter how smart you are, no matter how super ability you have, and we're going to forget. This is in the 1850s, and there was a German guy, Hermann Ebbinghaus. He developed it called forgetting curve. I don't know if you heard about a forgetting curve. Basically, at least even you haven't heard it, you would know. You go to a class, and so exciting, you remembered everything. You walk out half an hour later, ask him, maybe you forget half of it, right? Maybe 2 hours, 3 hours later, you forget like 80%. That's
overload of information.
All of us.
Yeah.
So he said this, forgetting curve. So he said he found out the best time to repeat is when you forget some, maybe a little bit more than half, but not completely. If you forget 90%, it's too late. Because you are starting from scratch again.
There's nothing to salvage.
Yeah, it's nothing to salvage. But if you only forget, 10%, your brain will be saying, "You're stupid. Why you want to repeat this? I know this," right? So that's not good. So the best is when you forget 50, 60%, and you come back, you open it. Oh, okay, now I remembered. Next time, it'll take much longer to forget. So you repeat it again, right? Next time, maybe the first time, maybe half an hour, and the next time, maybe 3 hours, and next time, maybe 8 hours, next time, maybe 3 days. So if you repeat 5, 6 times, space out, this is called a spaced repetition. Space out.
So not only just practice makes perfect, but practicing on specific intervals, giving yourself little bite-sized morsels of the subject matter.
Yeah, exactly. Tiger Woods said this: that practice doesn't make perfect. Practice just to make your if your mistake, if you're practicing it wrong, that may make your mistake permanent. So he said the perfect practice makes perfect. That's what Tiger Woods said.
The perfect practice. Okay.
It's true. I think about it, right? You are correcting your mistakes. If you are just keeping repeating the same thing, got a serious problem.
Just do it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's so this is called a spaced repetition. It's extremely important. There was a guy, Paul Pimsleur, I think in the 50s. He was a language teacher. And then he found this spaced repetition. So he decided to use this to teach his students at Ohio State. He was a professor teaching French, Paul Pimsleur. And after using this method, found it so successful, he made this program, the recording and everything. Now, if you go to library, everywhere is Pimsleur program based on this spaced repetition. And he made, I don't know how much money, a lot, because because he quit.
It fucking works.
Yeah. No, it's the whole world. Now the whole world is using. If you type Pimsleur, the Pimsleur language program everywhere, they say, how can you learn language in 30 days? All that. That's bullshit. But it's,
okay. I was about to say
it does help you. Does help you, give you a very good tool to learn faster and better. So that's the number 3. So you think about it, right? Association, and all senses involved or imagination, and then is repetition. But repetition is called spaced repetition. You have to space based on your personal and learning curve. That's the forgetting curve. Another one, number 4, not directly related, but it's related. It's our memory. Do we have? Because we saw those idiot savants, right? We saw all those idiot savants. You know that. They say, of course, they're not normal people. Of course, it's different. I mean, we cannot do that. But they have the same brain as you, not a bigger brain. They have the same brain cells as you.
That's the thing I was thinking. I was thinking that maybe they had an enlarged hippocampus or something.
No, really. They tested this. They found out what they did was this. Since the other areas were not developed, they were forced to do something different. But that showed something for us. That means we have that potential. If we develop our brain in that area, we concentrate on that, we can do that too. At least in theory, right?
In theory, okay.
That means we have that potential. I think, so that's why that one was very big, very good. Number 4, we're going to talk about is exercise, not sports. Sports is more concentrated on skill development. You are trying to make that basket, make that free throw, or the 3-pointer, or run how fast, something, or the hurdle or something. But exercise, the goal is a little bit different. It's not develop skills, rather heart rate. It's pump up your heart rate, so you can do. This was actually in the book Spark by Dr. John Rotate from Harvard. This was a very interesting book. He said this can improve your memory,
increase blood flow,
improve your memory, and dramatically improve your performance, academic performance, and your brain in general. And in his book, he talked about it.
Just to interject there to make sure that I'm grasping this. You're saying, in theory, somebody who maybe runs a half a mile before studying for, I don't know, a math exam, will have a higher likelihood of retaining the information given the same amount of time as somebody else who didn't run prior to.
Correct.
Let's say.
That's exactly what it is. Not exactly like the timing
Sure.
that you have to work out, because you might be too tired or something. So not right away. But until and also you just finished running, you come in, your heart is still pumping and everything, you cannot come down. So they developed a system. Actually, they did. They developed a system, and in a school, in a high school, that high school is called Naperville 203. There was a baseball coach. He was a professional baseball washout. Didn't make it anywhere, and then he decided to become a high school coach, and it turned out to be he was a genius. he was a genius. He developed this system, and the entire school so followed his program. What happened was remarkable is this. Average high school, 30% of kids are overweight.
Yes.
That's normal, right? And his high school, because his program, his PE program, only 3%. But that was already a super shocker, right? Because of his program. But much more than that, his school was pretty good in Illinois. It was because Naperville was a Chicago suburb. Naperville.
Okay.
Naperville. So Illinois was pretty good in Illinois, but it was not in the top, not even in the top 10. 2 years later, guess what happened? They were number one in the country.
Wow.
In his book.
Based on his
in that book. And everybody contributed to it because of that program, because of that, because of the exercise, because of the kids were so much better prepared. And physically, they were better too, of course, right? Physically, they were stronger and more healthier, but much more was their brain, their memory, because of this. And they even did the Harvard research that was, But anyway, that's
so there's a good correlation between his physical education program and the academic
performance.
Performance. Wow, that is freaking awesome.
You can check out that book. I mean, it's
that is freaking awesome. No, but that just blows my mind.
but the worst part is that program didn't continue because of bullshit politics. Can you imagine? Because guess what happened? Think about it. If all the students are healthy, they're not getting enough money from the state. It's a pure bullshit politics. And
something
also
to skew them.
Oh, can you imagine? And all the teachers and actually didn't like it. So
less funding. The trade-off though is like okay,
bullshit, right? But anyway, that was politics. It stopped it eventually. So, but anyway, that book was amazing. I did a lot of that kind of research too. Because I was teaching kids and coaching kids. But anyway, that's the rough.
Well, given all that you've said, I did have another question here before we kind of wrap up. But I'm very curious to know, how has accurate recall, or I should say even improved recall, impacted your life specifically? Have you been able to use it to, I don't know, play chess, for example, or is there something that you're dedicating this to? I know the pi thing. What is it? 1,000 or 1,200?
The pi thing. Was more like a show off. Just show you can do something special. Nobody thought it was possible. You can do it.
Yeah.
I even tried to make a bet. I said, look, 20,000. Yes, if you pay me, it'll take me a few months. But if you have to pay me, I will do it. So it's doable. But that's not really. But to remember the pi, if anybody wants to know how that works, that's a much more specific method too. That's the Greek method. From the Greeks developed that 2,500 years ago with Simonides. Simonides was considered one of the smartest guys with Socrates, Plato during those times, and he had a super memory. So everybody said he was, wow, it's amazing. So So he developed this, they call the method of loci. Basically, loci, loci or whatever, LOCI. It's a location. It's called a memory palace. And also there was in the regular TV shows, they use this in Sherlock, Benedict Cumberbatch said, use your mind palace. It was Sherlock Holmes. That's the same thing. Like, sounds like a so special. Really, you can do it. Yes, you can do it. But that's what it is. What roughly is association? Basically, your house, Mike. For example, if you are familiar with your house, you walk in, you know everything. You close your eyes, you can still. Even now, you close your eyes, you can still go to your refrigerator, go to your bed, go to your kitchen, go to the bathroom. You can find those, right?
I haven't tried it, but I think I might be able to make it,
or at least
unharmed. I might.
At least you can think about it, where it is. You know the location, right? That's the basic premise. Basically, you use something familiar to store information.
It's all contingent on.
Contingent on that. So, for example, in my house before, it was a long time ago when my daughter was a little baby. I made the palace of the whole house. So I was teaching her. Yeah, at the time actually was 2009. She was 80 years old. 2009 when I just learned this. So I was teaching her. She was trying to remember the 44 presidents. Obama was just elected, just became president. 44 presidents. So we used that. So the story, basically, George Washington was trying to chop down the door, and then the second was John Adams was playing the cello, and we made a story in our house.
You just keep stacking it.
So she can remember easily. It took her 15 minutes to remember all 44. Next morning, go to school to show off easily. And they say, no mistake. They say, oh, who is 26? Oh, that's Teddy Roosevelt. He's smoking a cigar on the balcony. In her mind, she didn't tell other people, but in her mind, immediately she can see. So who is number 27? Oh, that's William Taft. Howard William Taft. He's too fat, couldn't get in, trying to squeeze into our pantry because the pantry is 27. So
this is something you could use maybe to be like like a real Rain Man, or even go on Jeopardy or something like this.
You can do a lot of things. You can do and my daughter did this when she was 11. She came home, and she was in the middle school. She said, "Hey, Dad, can you teach me this weekend? Can you teach me the periodic table?" I said, "I don't even know the periodic table, but it's funny. You want to learn things?" And she said, "Yeah, because I know you can do this. That's why I made a bet with my classmate." Because she was in that genius school, so all the kids are very competitive. And Megan said, "Oh, my brother remembered the periodic table in 2 weeks in high school." My daughter said, "I can do that this weekend." She was 11 years old. She came home. I said, "Oh my God!" So I have to work. It took me a day and a half to make the stories. Then took her 2 hours to remember all 118 elements of the periodic table. Because
you went a day and a half to put it together. Her 2 hours.
To make the story, it takes longer.
Okay.
To remember is easier, but the goal is to make the story. For her to make the story. So she went to school. The teacher said, "Oh my God, your daughter is a genius."
What is the secret? It's the secret of that.
Oh my God, yeah. I said, "I know. I mean, we worked together for 2 days."
That longer lasting imprint or impression.
Yeah, basically, it's a story.
Based on the narrative.
All the story. But that's how powerful this thing is. Definitely, a lot of the things we can do with it, and also improve your not general intelligence, but general memory. Because you started to have the habit to make stories with things and easily remember. If I go to a presentation, for example, if I have 20 slides or 50 points or something, I don't need any notes. Because
I would definitely say, I mean, you were onto something there as far as increasing intelligence. I know that kind of sounds maybe arrogant. Oh, if I increase my memory, that's going to increase my intelligence. But I actually do think there's something there. Yes. If you're able to remember, let's say, your mistakes.
Yeah. And clearly, also people talk about this intelligence. That's another subject. I did a lot of research on that too. IQ. It's pure bullshit. It's pure bullshit. We still use that as a measure and everything.
Yeah,
You can raise it by a lot. You can.
Mm-hmm.
You can. Actually, in New York, people spend $50,000 send their kids to raise their IQ for 20, 30 points. It's true, but that's bullshit. That's not. That means that test is not of much value at all, in my opinion. But anyway, they still use it.
It's a bit foggy.
But anyway, okay. All right. Oh, we're at 40 minutes. Oh my God.
Yeah, but Mr. D, Sean, I really appreciate it. You've blown my mind, man. Just even with just the increased blood flow prior to trying to engage in remembering something. That was huge for me.
Oh my
I do
God.
have some projects where memory is going to be key in my success. And I think I am going to try to do something. I don't know. I'll have to come up with some kind of a routine to maybe do some kind of a workout prior to, but remembering, no pun intended, to not overdo it or overexert myself, because then I'll be too tired to actually engage in the studying process. So I think I'm going to take that away. Did you have any last words or final thoughts, I should say, not last words, for any of the viewers? Or let me look at the comments here and see if there's any specific questions from anyone. I don't see any here in the live. I'm sure there will be some later. But did you have any final thoughts that you'd like to partake in prior to us parting ways?
Actually, what I want to say is this. Basically, if you look at all these human examples from those Edith Savants to Dominic O'Brien, Joshua Foer, and even me, and we have so much potential, all of us. We just undervalued ourselves for our brain, for the capacity, not just the memory. Memory is just part of it. We have so much, and as long as you use the right method to learn, and you can do much more with what you have. Basically, everybody.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and this has been very eye-opening. I definitely want to have you on again. I know you and I talked about having you on to discuss health and just general health.
That general health. I mean, yeah, because I lost 50 pounds myself. I mean, I'm 62.
I was reading I won't give away too much here until our next talk, but I was reading the PDF that you sent me, and a lot of that was very, very awesome. But again, we won't shove too much here in this talk. But yeah, I definitely want to have you on again in the future, and I definitely want to have that discussion about health, because I think there's some gems there that you dropped in that PDF that I'm sure you'd be a great inspiration for a lot of us, including myself. I mean, I think you're in better shape than myself, and I'm 33, so so definitely appreciate that.
You're a kid.
But
that's why you can afford to drink. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, actually,
only two fingers.
Yeah. Just some drinks. I mean, it's not that bad.
Yeah, don't hate me too much if I'm drinking and vaping here. But hey, everybody, this has been another episode of Tiger Talk. We appreciate you guys tuning into The One Good Reason. This is going to go up here shortly on the page for any of those that didn't get to watch it live. Still feel free to give any comments or ask any questions, and I'll be able to reach out to Sean to get him to check in and maybe answer your questions, or message you directly if he's up to it. But yeah, keep an eye out for Mr. D to join us again in the future, as we said, to speak on health. And again, I wish everybody a happy 4th of July if I don't speak to you tomorrow. And you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you again, Sean, for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Happy 4th.